Alright, guys. Let's go. We've got SHIN in the top right side of the map. Rogue in the bottom left side. And it's a rematch of the best match we had so far in our group of Zerg. The group of tentacles, the group of moist structures pumping out their Zergy boys to run across the map and tear each other down. Rogue in the bottom left, SHIN in the top right. SHIN will go for the spawning pool first. Rogue will start with the hatchery first on washout. Now, this is going to be an interesting match because it did feel like I thought Rogue was the favorite going into the former match. SHIN brought it out, punishing Rogue's preponderance to rush spires at moments in the game that are dicey, to say the least. Rogue does not like accepting getting stuck in a roach war. And I think if there's one thing you can almost rely on... What is that, guys? Guys, what's that? A spawning pool at the ramp. Oh my. Does he build an Evo chamber here or like some other structure and then he can reactively wall his main at some... No, I think it's just random. I don't know. I don't think it really matters where the spawning pool goes. A lot of people will build it here so they can put a queen in the hole, but just an interesting placement. Sometimes people used to put it here to block spine crawlers building way back in the day. When people used to do the drone pool, like early pool, they'd bring drones, they'd build 3 spine crawlers, and people would run over and build an Evo chamber there to block it when they saw the drones coming, or you could just build a spawning pool there by default. So maybe. Chat says, yeah, against one base Bane boost. Also, if they do like one base slow Zergling Baneling, it'll help him wall off a little bit. Yeah, that's actually a decent idea. I don't know. It still seems kind of odd, but yeah. Because it's not like the spawning pool spreads creep at all, we'll see. Yeah, interesting. The thing is, you can't really fit an Evo chamber or something there, and walling off with spores or spines are very vulnerable, very fragile buildings, but it is what it is. Let's talk about the rest of the build order, guys. SHIN pulls 1 worker off gas after starting Ling Speed. Rogue staying on gas entirely. Very well may go for a Ling Bane timing. I think Rogue happy to gamble in these sort of high-pressure situations. SHIN, a player who usually likes to play a very efficient build order that he's decided on beforehand, and he's playing 3 Queen into an Evo chamber. Oh, you can't let him scout. You can't let him scout the Evo. He hasn't seen it just yet. You can see SHIN absolutely does not want to let that Zergling see that evolution chamber. It's an early Evo chamber. Not going to help, by the way, against any sort of Ling Bane pressure, but seeing no Baneling Nest. Oh, he cancels his own Baneling Nest. He's like, yeah, if you don't have one, I don't need one. And Rogue is going to start that lair right now. I think he's going to go mutas, guys. All right, I made a prediction. I was wrong. He goes and builds an Evo chamber at the front. Totally wrong on that. I thought he was going to go straight lair for mutas, thinking, oh, well, there's no Baneling Nest. I don't have to worry about Baneling aggression. But looks like he might just go either carapace or range. I think it's a range. Oh, I don't know. Rogue's loving his carapace lately. Hard to predict. Either way, SHIN's ahead on the economy significantly. SHIN's third base comes down a little bit later than Rogue's, which is the weakness. And Rogue's going to try and pressure 10 Zerglings coming out. SHIN, he's building 8 more Lings of his own. They're not ready just yet. He doesn't want to lose this hatchery. I think Rogue can get a cancel. Nice micro by SHIN to distract. Notice he goes after the exposed Zergling on the edge. Takes it down. The Queens are here as well. Rogue commits. Gets the cancel on the hatchery. And it only cost him a couple of Zerglings, so that is well worth it. Baneling Nest goes down for Rogue. Oh, that is such a late Baneling Nest. I think he was expecting SHIN to stay 2 base here, so now he sees Ling Speed and he's like worried, but it feels so late that Banelings can't be very relevant at like 5.5 minutes when his first Banelings could possibly enter the field. This is a very odd choice here for him. SHIN's going to get inside. He sees Mass Zergling and no lair. He, of course, doesn't have a lair either, but he's got the earlier carapace upgrade. They're both going carapace. We are going to see an extra evolution chamber on the front here for SHIN. Right now, army supply very similar between both sides. All right, Ling's poking around right now. Lair starts up. Shin's transitioning. Shin's going to go a couple of roaches. Extra Evo chamber, extra gas. He probably wants to squeeze a +1 range in. And Rogue is just like, nah, screw this. I am going balls to the wall. I mean, look at this Ling count. He's still building Zerglings. SHIN is about to get killed by 100 Zerglings with carapace at the latest timing I've ever seen in my life. And this is the craziest build. Rogue is an insane person. I mean, that's it. You've got to see how many units that is. You can't keep droning here, Shin. With no defensive Baneling Nest, I think Shin might just die. There's a few Banelings morphing at home. He sends half of his lings across the map, does Rogue. And I think then Rogue, he started droning behind this, the mad lad. But he's got to go. He's all in. He's built 60 Zerglings. Surely he's got to go do damage, doesn't he? This is an insane amount of Zerglings to build. You got to go do something with it, don't you? Shin has +1 on the way. He's building a Baneling Nest at Evo Chamber. He's thinking about walling off. Shin is like realizing the depravity of this man he is playing against. A Rogue is an absolute psychopath, man. Absolute psychopath. I think at this point, you probably don't need the Baneling Nest. But Shin is just like, dude, that is so many Zerglings. And I think in his mind, he's like, oh, is Rogue just going to mass lings? He is. He's making melee. Yes, he's making a few Roaches. But it's a mass Zergling build with a handful of Ravagers, all on hatchery tech. Basically, Rogue feels he's so far behind on tech that he can't go for it now. So he's doubling down on hatchery tech. But once Banelings come in, they will ruin this play. And Shin is defending this so well. Shin won the first series between these two. Now it's a best of 5. Remember, we did see a game of Rogue versus Serral the other day where it was like 20 minutes of mass Zergling with a handful of Roach Ravager. Bane speed's on the way for Shin. And that's exactly what Serral did to counter this style as well. I don't know if you guys saw it. It was Old Sun Temple. Serral versus Rogue. The Baneling speed Banelings and Roaches. And it turns out that's pretty good at countering this. Like, look at this. Rogue's going for a mass Baneling timing. A handful of Roaches. He's making 21 Banes. But this handful of Banelings, if those handful of Banelings can get in amongst the mass of Rogue's Banelings, it's going to ruin his day. There's already a lot of Roaches, which on their own are going to be very hard to deal with. Shin just needs to spread his Banelings out, honestly. And oh, the Banelings! They get some massive hits! Oh, man. Rogue does split a few lings off there, but as long as these Banelings are around, you can't really force the fight. And Shin can just keep making Roaches and Banes, and he should be unkillable, right? But here we go. Enemy units coming in. Third base getting jumped on. The Banelings of Shin are very clumped up. It's going to create a crazy series of engagements. Most of the Banelings get blown up on both sides. Still a few of them left here for Rogue. Rogue Zerglings almost all gone, though. And remember, there's 1-1 for these Roaches, only 0-1 for Rogue's Roaches. A lot of drones go down on the third base as well. Those guys probably should have got evacuated. But I think it's a kind of scrappy hold, but it's a good enough hold because Lair has just now started. Rogue does have a macro hatchery. I love that Rogue plays these crazy styles. He really does look like a drunk artist sometimes who's just like throwing paint against the wall and making some of the most beautiful builds and styles you've ever seen. Bit crazy, little desperate, but it was a very fun idea. It doesn't quite work out for him, unfortunately. I think mass upgraded Zergling is quite nice if you can go to Mutas, but unfortunately the Roach Warren and handful of Roaches really didn't do much for him there. He's up in economy. Shin is able to push, though. Surely he kills him now. Shin taking a little long to push across the map. I think Rogue's goal here should be to, of course, counterattack when the move out comes. If you had some Mutas, look at how many Overlords and Overseers there are in this map. I mean, Shin has crazy map vision. You really want to actually make sure you have, Mutalisks, right? But it's so awkward. Rogue's just making more Roaches and Lings right now. He's not even got Roach speed. He's still making Zerglings. These Banelings are just such a threat. Oh, tries to run in with a handful of Roaches here. Not a big attack, just a small one. Roaches on the north as well. Shin wants to lean on him with this advantage. These Lings looking to loop around. There's only 2 Banelings on the front. The Roach advantage is massive, though. Still 1-1 against 0-1 in Shin's favor. The Roaches are pretty damn powerful here. The Lings are starting to go down. These Banelings just dancing around, making it hard for the Lings to support this engagement. And Shin, I think, making the correct call to push here. His reinforcement gets jumped on. Banelings try to come back to cover that. Good splits with the units there for Rogue. But his Roaches and Queens just can't hold the front line. So even though that was very clever Zergling usage, his Roaches are all gone by the time those Lings loop around Rogue with some fun and desperate strategies. He looks a little frustrated. I think he just kept getting deeper and deeper in the hole, and he kept saying, double down, more Zerglings, more Zerglings, more Zerglings, more Zerglings. And, you know, sometimes just keep on doubling your bet, and sometimes you get out of the hole, and sometimes you run out of money and you leave the casino broke. And that was luckily for Rogue only game 1 of the series, but really good play for Shin. He saw just how many lings there were, added the very late Baneling Nest, and countered it perfectly. All right, guys. Rogue in the top right side of the map. And oh my, what is this? What is this? Whoa! Guys, it's been the group of ZVZ. I thought we'd be seeing, like, I don't know, 20%, 30% of the games would be early pulls. Our first early pull of the day. An 11 pull for Rogue. An 11 pull. Not a 10 pull. Okay, there we go. It's an 11 pull, 12 gas. This is a slow Zergling Baneling attack, guys. And he's hoping to hit a hatchery first from SHIN. SHIN is not building a 16th drone. He is, which means SHIN's going pull first. Oh, no. Now, this can still work. I think. Because if you hide your Zerglings from the Overlord, SHIN's not going to know that you're doing the early pull, right? Actually, I don't know what the Overlord rush time is. I don't know how early he scouts the lack of natural on lockdown. But on some big maps, like Eternity's Edge, the Zerg player, in this case SHIN, who's gone pull first, doesn't realize that they should be building Zerglings. They have an earlier queen, but they won't have many Zerglings. And they can be kind of supply blocked by the time they see the lings coming. And this is not an all-in. It's just meant to, like, deny the hatchery and or kill a whole bunch of drones and build an advantage. Now, obviously, it's still pretty committed. You're only on 11 workers, and you can't hide. You can't hide. The Overlord sees it on this map. Perhaps not a good map, then, for this all-in. I don't know. I mean, it's not even an all-in, but this very committed attack, because Spinecrawler can go down immediately. And this is one of the things where, you know, they nerfed the Overlord speed like crazy at the start of the PTR. Then they, like, added some speed back to it. It's almost as fast as it was on the previous season. And it does mean builds like this have pretty limited leeway. That being said, you can deny the hatchery. SHIN's playing gasless response. Oh, pulling drones. I don't think you can defend the hatchery, can you? Queen's going to try to get down there. The spines are insurance in case this was indeed a complete all-in. If SHIN keeps the hatchery alive, gets the spines to the low ground, he's got this in the bag. Like, this is going to be such a big lead. Banelings are now coming in. Hatchery has 900 hit points, and it's still adding more of those as well. Queen's got to be careful. She could get surrounded on the low ground. SHIN gives up the base and goes back to droning. He cancels a Spinecrawler as well. He's going to skip injecting here, put a creep tumor down, and then he's going to slowly expand to the natural by the looks of it. Banelings and Lings trying to breach the ramp. Beautiful block there, but he's got to focus these Banelings down. The Queen and the Zergling. Oh, one Baneling does it. Okay, all the Banelings go down. Now it's just drones against Zerglings. Was SHIN too greedy? There's a hatchery on the way behind this. Rogue is making a few Banelings in the base. Drones cannot kill Baneling cocoons, guys. The Lings are going to try and fight here. Focuses down 4 drones. This is really good damage. One more Ling does run past. He needs to just go drones and queens behind this, does Rogue. Rogue also needs to pull off gas behind this as well, but he's too busy microing right now. Massive amounts of mining time damage, and he's getting that expansion up so much quicker. And you can see he's just macroing off his control groups, building drones at the same time. Baneling does get focused down. He's going to lose everything to the Queen now. The Queen will shut this down, but a good choice to breach the ramp. And is he ahead or is he behind? I think he's behind. I think like Rogue's behind. I think SHIN's ahead, guys. I think so, because look how quick he gets the hatchery. He's got a Queen injecting, and he's got a full mineral line. And he's got a Spinecrawler for insurance. He's also got a Ling pressure going that's going to force more Lings out. Ling speed's on the way for Rogue, but he's not even got a Queen. I think making Ling speed here is very silly for Rogue. I think Rogue's basically doubling down. We saw him double down in that previous game. I think he's doubling down again here on the next wave of all-in. And I don't think it's a good call. No Queen. He's just... the Queen had to be the priority here. I think he should have pulled off gas much earlier and got that Queen already out by now. But now, 19 drones. SHIN is too far ahead. Pull first is indeed the counter build on this map. And I think... I don't know if there's any maps actually where the Overlord gets there slow enough that they don't spot it so early. I'm not sure. I wanted to see more of this build, but that Overlord just saw exactly what was happening and shut it down really well. The Queen block on the ramp was really good as well. Did slow down, picked off a few of those key units. Now Rogue's down 2 workers. He does have another Queen building. Keep in mind that the extra gas, the Baneling Nest coming... Wait, what's the extra gas about, guys? Can anyone tell me, why is SHIN making a second gas right now? Is he going muters? Oh, man! SHIN's like, this game's gonna get weird. I want to go, like, kind of 1 base muter. Like, it's 1.2 base mutalist. He's got just a couple units there. Oh, nice block on the ramp. Drones will get jumped on. Dude, Rogue is not going to expect mutas this early. Ling's going to try to run in. Good block. Oh, his blocks have been so good. Dude, Shin is on fire. Oh, man. Shin is looking so good. Straight back to gas. He can now saturate his natural. And what do you have here as Rogue? You've got a third hatchery. I think as Rogue, you have to play upgraded Zerglings from here. Because he's so far behind, I actually think there's only one play for him. And that's get an Evo, make Carapace. I know he's been doing it all good. But against Mutiling Bane, I think kind of get all your overlords off the map, essentially. So there's no free kills for the Mutalisks. And try to basically secure a fourth base and just threaten Ling counters to deny the third base, if possible, of Shin. And just kind of avoid fighting the Mutas. Mutas come across, Lings run around, you know, try to push these overlords back. And essentially, you've got to create a guerrilla warfare situation where your Lings are just, you know, Viet Conging it around the edges of the map, ducking in and out of tunnels maybe with Burrow. And you've got to, you know, Shin may have air superiority, but Rogue has got to be really tricksy to get back in this game because that is such a big lead on the spy attack. No, not Gorilla. No. Guerrilla GUE, not GOR, guys. That sort of gorilla would just be go do a roach timing. The gorilla you guys are talking about in chat is Oogie Boogie A Move Roach. Now we're talking about much more clever play. That sort of guerrilla warfare is not going to work from this situation. You do that. Harambe warfare is for when you're ahead, not for when you're behind. Spire. He's going to try and... Dude, Rogue's playing Spire? Oh, he's actually crazy. Now, don't get me wrong, he's got a faster third, so technically if he gets the gas up on that third, he long-term can beat the mutas, but, like, how does he ever secure the third base here? Oh, this is... I think he could have played this as a later follow-up, but he needed to go mass-upgraded Zergling first. Shin comes in, snipes a Queen. Oh, good Queen Micro on the defense for Rogue, though. Rogue cleans up all the Banelings. He's got a Ling pressure. If he can deny this third, he might be able to do this. He's already going for the gases. I don't know if he can... It seems like it's a bit too... I don't know how he gets the mutas in time to defend. It feels like he's rushing to the mutas, where he kind of needs to rely on the Zerglings for a little bit longer. But dude, what a nice move. Rogue denies the third base. I gotta say, I'm impressed. Rogue is right now, he's saying, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And he absolutely juiced that third base of Shin. But Shin's mutas are a real problem. You really don't want to be building Spore Crawlers yet, because they don't even defend all these overlords. Like, there's still unlimited damage the mutas can find. And this is why I think, oh, this is a bit of a dicey choice to try and play your own mutas this early against it. We'll see how he goes. Massive Baneling ambush! Whoa, Shin makes a huge mistake. That is huge. He makes a massive mistake. The Mutalisks have to come home in panic to try and defend. This is a godsend for Rogue. He needed something, and he finds not just something, but a big something. A big juicy, as we like to call it. A massive juicy hit. He's got Lings running in here as well. The mutas will come back. Rogue desperately down and dirty, scrappy, buying time for himself to get established at home. And not only that, he's going for the better muta upgrade. He's going Flyer Carapace, which Shin should know from how early these gases were that it's going to be Mutalisk first Mutalisk, but it's a lot going on. And he's stuck on 2 base, which does really suck long term. Equal workers on both sides, of course, 50 versus 50. Units lost tab is in favor of Shin. But look at that. Shin just spent a minute chasing Lings in circles in his main base. Rogue targeting the gas kind of gives away what his strategy is here. He's like, you know, Shin 100% knows, oh, you're trying to get the Mutalisk advantage on me. It's all about the gas advantage, but even with 2 more gases mining, that takes a long time to actualize, which is why I always felt like you have to be winning the Ling war to keep the mutas at home. That's what will allow you to then transition into these gases and mutas. But you know what? Rogue committed very lightly to Lings, and he achieved the mission anyway, which is absolutely, I would not have rated it as being a good option that would have worked. He made it work. That's skill. That's intuition. That is decisiveness under pressure. Spore Crawler moves out front. He's got 3 spores. There are holes, many areas away from these spores, but the mutas are afraid to commit. There's still a 5 meter advantage on the map. But of course, they're not all going to be in the base, and it's very scary to commit to a Mutalisk fight. Fly Carapace is kicking in for Rogue in a few seconds, but it's already on the way for Shin as well. So Shin is ahead on the upgrades, ahead on the muta count. He can't be throwing his mutas away. Remember, if you attack in the enemy territory, they can bring Lings. They can bring Queens and Spores, which do anti-air damage, of course. But they can also put Zerglings underneath. Remember, in a big Mutalisk battle? Oh, actually, they changed it. So Mutalisk bouncers prioritize targets, which means it'll hit the enemy units that shoot you before it'll target. It used to be you could hold position Zerglings underneath and they would absorb the bounces. That shouldn't work anymore. Which is kind of a shame, because that was like a really cool thing you could do in Muta battles, is if you had Lings underneath, you could tank all the bounces and remove, you know, about 1/3 of the Mutalisk damage from the air battle. Let your Zerglings contribute a little bit. 57 workers to 62. +2 carapace on the way for Rogue, so he's keeping the lead on the important upgrade, even though he's behind overall in the upgrades. Still ahead in Mutalisk is Shin. 27 to 23. Oh! Muta's going to commit here. Oh, this is a close fight, but it's 1-1 for Shin. Rogue committing all out at the same time. His Lings are going. Oh, he's going to get a massive Baneling. The drone's evacuating, and he wasn't watching, though. The drones are all escaping. Lovely pull away. Meanwhile, Mutalisk count does drop drastically. 16 Mutas died for Rogue. Shin only lost 10. So even though this does a lot of damage, it looks like with the Mutas coming home, the transfuses on the third. Dude, he saves the hatchery. And Shin just all over this series. Very nice play. Rogue committed to a Muta fight. It was not the right one. And he is now far, far behind. Almost, what, 2,500 units lost. He's also down a couple of workers. His fourth base is trying to rebuild, but even with his 1-1 Zergling upgrades are the only advantage he has. His Lings beat the heck out of Shin's Lings in battle. So in an even game, he'd be miles ahead, right? If they had equal Mutalisk count, but 9 Mutalisk advantage for Shin still. I think, honestly, if I was in Rogue's shoes, I would have stopped Muta production entirely, swapped to pure Zergling, get some Queens, maybe get a few Infestors, just try to defend with Spores and Queens, and just like win the Ling fight, right? Because I feel like the Mutalisk is absolutely like, essentially it's a bottomless pit, right? It feels like he's just throwing money into a well right now. Like everything Rogue's doing that's not Mutalisk is some of the most perfect anti-Mutalisk play I've seen in a long time. It's just the Mutalisks that I don't rate. Like, I'm so impressed. I don't know if he can win if he keeps building Mutalisks. Building Spores. Don't really want to be investing in Spores in these scenarios, but hey, he's got the fourth base up. Fourth base only halfway done for Shin. Oh, but now Shin has a Ling advantage. And now Shin can just shove. The Spores get focused down by the Lings. The Mutas commit to the fight. And that is a devastating engagement. Queens come down, get a few transfuses. Spore Crawler's only going to get a few hits off the Banelings. Actually clear almost all of the Zerglings. But the Mutas have already been crushed. And that was it. The Mutas just absolutely crush. Oh, man. Rogue's Ling play was so good. I legit think he could have brought that back if he didn't play Mutas. His Ling play was amazing. But the Mutalists just couldn't quite close the gap. Great play from behind for Rogue. But Shin, man, he's up 2-0, 1 game away from going through. All right, guys, Shin in the top right side of the map, weathering the storm. Rogue is being chaotic, but he's looking frustrated. And I'm kind of looking at him going, Rogue, stay calm, stay focused. You belong in the next round, brother. You belong in the next round. We'll find out. I think Shin belongs in the next round as well, just to be sure. I just want Rogue to win this game. And then maybe the next one. And then Shin can win game 5. Just, you know, give us a close action-packed series. Their first series was very close. That was a real close one. But Shin played so good these last 2 games. The fact that Rogue made that as competitive as he did from what I felt like was a pretty decent disadvantage was quite good. But I do think he needed to lean into those Lings just a little bit harder there. Since he scouted, I think getting in and seeing the lair so early was such a big thing that, like, you know, it gave him the heads up of what was happening. They're both going to play pool first. Let's see how we go. So yeah, it's so weird, man, because Shin, I always think of as a guy who just has these very tight build orders, and Rogue is this, like, he's got a lot of builds, but he's got a much wider range than most other Zergs. He loves catching players off guard. He loves predicting what he thinks you're going to do and then having an option that he can hard counter with. When that doesn't work, that's when he gets frustrated. Like that last game, he was convinced Shin was going to go hatchery first. That's why he did that build. And he didn't predict correctly. And this is why, like, you know, if you think of Rogue used to be one of the most interesting but kind of crazy players against Protoss. Oh, he actually goes 18 Overlord. I think Rogue's Bull first build is a little weird here, guys. That was a 16 Queen into 18 Overlord. Then he builds the drones. We saw the other players were all doing an extractor trick here at this point. But he doesn't do the extractor trick. And he does actually cut drone production quite early to get the Queen straight away. I'm not sure if that's the same. You can see Shin here. Similar build, but he is going to build 2 Zerglings, whilst Rogue is not. The gas, which could go to Ling Speed, could go to Lair, similar on both sides. This is a map where players normally wall off the natural. I wouldn't be surprised to see both players go straight Lair. I do think quick 2-base Mutalisk is really good on this map. Now, Rogue's already got a 3rd Queen. Shin, will he start a 3rd Queen as well? See, Rogue's building that next Overlord already. No sign of Ling Speed for him. 100 gas kicks in for Shin. Will he make Ling Speed? The answer is no. Alright. 2 Lings come forward. He's going to look for a scout. Shin's got a lot of room to play here. I wouldn't mind him just commit to an all-in, go for a big timing attack. Whatever he feels confident to just flow with. And here it is. He's going to go for the 2-base Mutalisk. Yeah, just layer second gas really early. Rogue's the one who goes for the Evolution Chamber. Sees the Evolution Chamber. Okay, not a bad scout. You know what's interesting, guys? Shin didn't bring the 3rd Overlord very early, so technically he doesn't see if Lings were flooding out on the south side. But I think he's pretty sure that's not the case. Evo Chamber at the front for him. Probably for melee. Could go melee, but Spire, of course, will be the first thing. Let's go to Shin's camera here. Just kind of show you what he's focusing on. It's Roach Roaring and Triple Gas for Rogue. So Rogue's playing pretty standard Roach stuff. You can see the lair finishes. Spire goes down for 4 minutes 20. Really tight Spire timing. Drone's going to move out to take a 3rd. He sees the drone moving out to take the 3rd of Rogue as well. Quickly runs his own Overlord away. Now, do we see that melee upgrade? I think we will.
Your forces are taking damage. Terrible damage.
Oh, I love that he's playing with that Diva voice pack. Shin has not swapped off the Diva voice pack ever since it came out. Every tournament, he's got her voice in his ears. I imagine she's speaking the voice lines in Korean for him. I imagine if you're playing on a Korean version of the game. I'm not 100% sure. It has been shown to increase your testosterone by 60% if you do have the Diva voice pack. Just a heads up for any of those low T gents out there. A bit cheaper than getting HRT. Overseer does get sniped, but it does see the Spire. Let's go back to see Rogue spots that, guys. So now what's Rogue's answer? Nidus. Nidus. He's going to Nidus. I was going to say a lot of people would just drone up here, build a Spore on each base, build a couple more Queens. He's going to go for a Nidus. Rogue is done playing games, but he's only got 3 Queens. If he's not building more Queens, I don't think Nidus hits in time. And 3 Queens will not beat 8 Mutalisks. Oh, he's trying to just go. He's trying to shove, but it's not early enough. Remember, this was no Ling Speed, no Baneliness, no messing around. This was an immediate Spire. These are very fast Mutalisks. I think Shin might have a checkmate here. 4th and 5th Queen now starts up. I mean, maybe he can pop out and build drones as well. The Roaches are here. There's nothing on the ground, right? There's nothing on the ground for Shin. He's got 8 Zerglings that are on the other side of the map. They're slow Zerglings. He's trying to build a few Roaches of his own. The Mutalisks are doing damage to these Roaches. Nidus weren't popping up behind that, but these first Roaches will be sacrificial. Can they find any damage? They're going to kill a Queen. They're going to try and maybe focus something down. No, they're just running into the back of the main base. I think he wants to try and throw a Nidus up here potentially, which he could maybe do, but nope, they'd all get cleaned up. There's 3 Queens at the front. He's got no other units. Oh my lord. He's trying to build Spores right now. He's got 3 Queens. 1 Spore goes down, a 2nd Spore. All 3 Spore Crawlers get focused. Oh no! Rogue just lost all of his drones on the front. This is a disaster, mate. This is not synced up. It's all of his units are disjointed. They're not coming in together. The Mutalist finding crazy damage. He will deny the 3rd. But there's so many Roaches here for Shin. Rogue's only on 40 workers right now. That is so costly. Units lost up 2-1 in favor of Shin. And unless you can breach this ramp, you are dead in this game. But Roach Speed's kicked in and you've got +1. No +1 just yet for Shin. Shin's struggling to defend. The Queens and Roaches doing pretty well. The Queens are blocking the Roach rally though. The Queens with the transfusers doing a good job of that. Roach Arc for Shin is just massive. So much damage output. And that is going to be a clutch hold. Rogue, I think, a little bit tilted here as he goes into this third game. Shin is all over it, man. That's crazy. Shin just looking so good. And the shutdown on those spores. Obviously, they can't get transfused when they're building. Rogue needed to be quickly canceling them. But he was like, where are my roaches? What the hell, you know? And his roaches were just a bit too slow to pop out of the Nidus one. I think it would have been better, honestly, if Rogue just rallied his roaches across the map and only popped the Queens and drones out of the Nidus one. But he kind of got a bit too fancy with it, slipped up a little bit with his unit management, and he'll be very upset. As that's a sort of micro mess up. He does not normally make those mistakes. Mutalisks now reign supreme over this map. Get through, 3 drones do go down. Really well played. If he got those spores up and just held that low ground area, he could have contained Shin for so long with Roach Ravager as well. Oh, man. Mutalisks rotating around. Roach is there. Ooh, Roach does take a bit of damage. Alright, Carapace is now on the way for Shin. So he's just into the full Roach game. He's droned up his third, even though it died. He waits for it to finish, pops back up. Supply is closer than it should be. Makes it look like this is a more competitive game than it really is. I mean, the Roach count's similar. You've got the same upgrades right now, but 2 1s on the way. So Shin, even though he's buying on +2, will catch up on those upgrades eventually. And these Mutalisks, just going to be troublemakers. Roaming the map, forcing transfusers onto random overlords, picking off creep tumors where they can. It's a shame. Rogue's such a clever player. When things are going his way, he looks so unstoppable. I kind of think him as like a very aggressive like poker player, where when they've got a little bit of luck on their side, they feel untouchable when they're on a good streak, you know, and they're just like, whoa, everything's going my way, and they just keep on pushing harder and harder and doing all sorts of wild stuff. Chat points out Shin has 1,000 gas. Yeah, I guess he'll have to make a lot of Ravages, hey? Rogue just tried to Corrosive Bile Mutalisks, which is throwing a tennis ball at an F-18. Bit of a reach. If you land it, though, you'll feel pretty impressive. Mutalisk going after the Ravages. Dude, he's so pinned. Rogue down 8 workers, but the Queens do come to the front. And honestly, if he can max out and take a really good patient defensive fight. Oh, nice. Biles do take down the Overseer. If this was Maru in Rogue's shoes, like Shin is kind of famous for not being able to close games out against Maru, having a mental block. I don't know if he has that issue against Zerg and against Rogue. He definitely hasn't so far today. He's going to push right now. He really should be pushing. I mean, +2 being so late is why he's kind of delaying, and that's giving Rogue time to maybe catch up, but Rogue's got to stop F2ing. He's got to defend the Mutas with just the Queens. The Ravagers, no! Rogue! All 4 Ravagers on the front. 2 of them go down instantly. That is a disaster. He's got to dodge these Biles, but he allows Shin to get position. He was already down in supply. Even though he's up in upgrades, to lose all your important units like that and give up position is so tragic, and a bit too early into the Hydras for him as well. Still should have been on mass pure Roach Ravager here just to be able to survive this timing. Shin's going to finish it off. Beautiful play by Shin today. He looked really good, and he really looked like he deserved and understood the assignment of how to get to that next level. The Queens, the Hydras, the Roaches all struggling. That Roach Ravager is going to move forward. Rogue taps out, and Shin takes a 3-0. Incredibly decisive, man. Turns out Cyril and Shin, the 2 kings of ZVZ.